Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the Major League Paintball Virtual Studio. My name is Brady Nickel, and today we're going to break down the Atlantic City Open layout coming up May 2nd through the 4th. We are going to make some hypotheses about this field. We're going to break down the snake, break down the center, dive into the Doritos, and figure out what we can and cannot do possibly on this layout so that by tomorrow you can go into practice with the most possible knowledge and ideas of what you can try starting out this weekend. But before we jump in to this layout, I do have to thank today's sponsor, which is myself, Grit Paintball. Guys, I just started this company a few months ago, and my whole idea behind this brand is doing whatever it takes to be better than you were yesterday. Guys, I did just put some new packages together. So if you need custom gear for your team, I do have packages starting as low as $90, and guess what? The designs are completely free. So that's grtpaintball.com, and if you want to pick up one of our unique t-shirt designs over there, you can do that as well. Now, before we dive into the layout, I do need to talk about next-gen paintball. Guys, we're bringing in the next generation of players. It's for the youth. That's what this series is for. It's next gen in Millstead, Illinois, over at Extreme Paintball Park. And this tournament is happening the same weekend as Atlantic City Open. It'll be the May the 3rd through the 4th. D4 plays on Saturday, D5 on Sunday. And so if you're playing that event, obviously this layout is going to be played at next gen. So this is for you guys. Now, if you have not booked a photographer for event number 2, Anti-Social Photography is still booking teams for this next event. So get with them before the time runs out. That's Anti-Social Photography. You can get with them on Facebook or Instagram. Now, without further ado, let's jump into this layout. Let's start at the start box and just kind of look at our bunkers and see what kind of options we do. So, on the snake side, we have this gap here. On the other side of the can, possibly a blind shot over the 50. I would almost guarantee there's a blind shot over the 50. And maybe right over the wedge at the snake 50. So that's not too bad. Let's look at the side. So you got D1, maybe some shots on the outside of D1, the apple. And I think too there's probably going to be a shot right over the top of this wedge as well into the baby. So that would be from here to there if you're looking on the big screen. Maybe going into that baby right there. Okay, so we've taken a look at the home bunker and some of the possible shots that we might have. Now let's move on to the snake side of the field. Let's move over to the Money South Electronics bunker. So your head's up on your mirror, which is fine. And now this could be a possible bounce shot from here to there. So keep that in mind off of the edge of that can that you might have a bounce there. You don't have a whole lot on the snake, it doesn't seem like. But you do have this whole gap, so from here to the snake entrance, if you get there early and can contain that, you might have a good shot at stopping somebody from getting in. And then you have wrap on the Hertz tower. So you got that gap there. And then you might want to help the D side here, but you don't have many options as far as early game. I mean, D3, a push to D3. Well, no, D2. I take that back. So there is a push to D2 right here. So over the wedge, you could shoot that gap. But early game, probably not so much. Okay, so there's South Electronics bunker. And now let's move into the God. Okay, now we're starting to get better. Well, let's just look at the inside and see what we got to start with. So, the baby, D1 for sure, and D3. So, God might be, God's going to be a bunker to watch out for. Because the God can hold down a lot of key positions here. And then I would, let's look in here too. I want to look at this. So I'm here. If I'm shooting over the top into D3, I guess that'd be D2. So into D2, you could blind shot over this top right here. So where the large brick meets the edge of the wedge at the D side 50, if you shoot that gap, you might have a good shot on D2. So keep that blind shot in mind. Getting into the snake, I think you're going to be fine. Really the biggest contestant here is the Hertz tower, and it's going to be a challenge to get to the Hertz tower. So let's just look at that first. If we're getting up to the Hertz tower, we have to go through the center. If I'm the home, I'm going to lane that. So getting to the Hertz tower, and then what can we see from the Hertz tower? That's the other thing. You can shoot down. So we can shoot that gap there. And we can see the outside of the mini wedge, and then we have this right here. So if they get there early, they can stop you for sure. But if you hug that snake tube on the inside. So let's go back and look at that on our side. So we're in here. Yeah, I would think if you stay in that snake tube and just hug that inside, this might be the tricky part, is getting around that cake. But that's if they're there. So listen to your support. If you hear a call for that Hertz tower, then you may want to cool it or have them put them in while you make this transition into snake 2. So really, you're uncontested all the way to the 50 in the snake. They can't see around that center 50, that snake 50 wedge. So I would probably move up as far as I could before I got stopped, right? If you can get into the snake 50, it's almost over. And I think that's going to be the goal for this tournament, is the race to the 50. But let's go back here to the snake 1 and just look at what shots we have. So you can probably thread the needle on the inside of the Hertz tower over to, let's see, where is that? So that's the gap from that wedge. We're looking at this map on the wall. We're shooting through here. So that's going to be to D1, just past that D-side tower. So you can possibly pick up shot on that wedge on the D side. I doubt you'd be able to see that tower, but you might be able to shoot just over the top of that tower, that wedge, and maybe catch that guy, and then possibly the D1. You can't really see it, but it is there. Okay, so there's that shot, and that's just about it. I mean, if you hang in on the inside, then you could get the Snake 50 wedge, or the inside snake wedge right here. But other than that, I would not. You're not gonna hang out here long. All right, moving into S2. Things are getting a little better. We've got the mini W. We've got the tower now. We've got the mini Aztec over on the D side. The Delta. Nope. Still figuring out all the kinks with the with the drawing on this. Okay. So yeah, there's the mini Aztec. There is the mini W. We got the tower. And so let me just highlight these up here on this wall. So we got that shot, we got that shot, we got that shot there. Okay. And I think that is, I have to look here in a second, but that's the edge of this mini brick right there. And then of course we have this wedge. So let's pop up. Oh, that's the center 50. That's the large brick, just on the other side. So if we're looking at that, that is going to be this right here, which is right there. Okay, so moving out of S2 into S3, things are going to start to open up even more so for us. We've got D3. We have their inside D-side wedge. We have the large brick. We have the Delta, the mini Aztec. We have this Sierra wedge. And then we have the Hertz tower. So a lot more shots are opening up. Let's take a look over here on the wall. Okay, so move on to the 50 snake. This is where things are going to get hairy. Packs are going to start to show themselves. And this point is almost over. Okay. So, definitely have the Hertz tower. We definitely have that mini Aztec. We have the D-side tower. We have a little sliver right there of the D2 poking out. But here is something I would not sleep on, and that is this shot over the top of the mini brick into the D1 and the baby. And let's look down the tape, because this is going to be our first look around their side of the snake. If you get here off the break, I mean, I would almost post up, because they're going to be racing to the 50 as well. So if you could get out here on this outside wedge and maybe catch them slipping, I'd definitely be on the lookout for that. And then let's just take one look around this side of the wedge. This is a kill. This is a kill. Obviously, this is a kill. So yeah, I mean, your goal is definitely get to the snake 50 as fast as possible. Okay, so there's our snake. We've seen quite a few shots open up as we progress down that side of the field. The thing is going to be staying protected and communicating with your support in the snake. If you are not careful The Hertz tower can get a drop in on you. Possibly the home, I doubt it. As you get closer to the 50, the wedge could probably get a shot in there. Now, let's take a look at the center of the field. So we've looked at the home. Just to recap, though, we've got this lane here. We've got this gap here. Got this gap here. Got this gap here. Got that shot there. A lot of shots opened up from the home. Straight over the top is always a way to go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 shots just from the center home point. And I would even argue that you could probably play this knuckle right here on this mini W and catch those shots. That's what it's there for. So, all right, so let's move up to the can. And so I would say you're going to want to make a lateral move. So instead of running straight up to this can, I would take 2 steps out to the side and then work up to the can and let's see. Okay, so this is probably not a bunker that you're going to want to stay at for long because there's not a lot of options. I mean, you have your mirror. You can shoot over the top of that wedge, but you have a lot blocking you from everywhere else. So, good transition bunker, I would say. So, take your step out. If you wanted to shoot the inside, it's risky business, but take your step out, and then you're working up here to this Hertz tower. So you would have to... Okay, here's the play. Up here to the side, put your paint immediately on the home bunker when you get here. You're just putting them in to get through that gap, so wrap on the home. Just in case there's somebody there, there probably is going to be somebody there. You could almost bet on it. But you put that player in and then make your push into the Hertz tower bunker. Now again, once we're here, this is going to be the real snake container, because you have the downward shots. You can see over the top of this these snake beams, and you have that gap there. You have a little bit on the gap into the snake one, but if they're hugging that beam, you're not going to see them. And then you have this gap, and then of course, if they're trying to make a quick push to the 50, you got to pack an ass all day. Then you do have the sight on God. And then if we wrap around, we have the mirror. And then the South Electronics bunker. Now, if we wanted to look on the D side, we do have a lot of options on D side, and this is something you're going to have to be very careful of if you're containing that snake, is that your pack is not sticking out the other side of this tower, because it looks like you're going to have a lot of eyes on you. But with that comes the opportunity to get a few kills. You have 3 out of the 4 Dorito bunkers in your sight line, as well as this edge of the wedge and that tower. Actually, you might have all 4 Doritos, because I think that is the edge. Yeah, you might be able to see that. Check that edge and see if you can see that fourth Dorito from this tower. Be right back. So there's the Hertz tower. Let's take a look at this big brick. I don't think setting up for anything on the D side is an option. You got some snake control here. But I think this is going to be more of a transition bunker. Now you could pop the top on this bunker. And that's definitely an option. But you don't want to do that a lot because they're going to pick up on you quick. The problem is with the snake, and I think Greg mentioned this in his video, is they could pop up here, they could pop up here, they could pop up here. And so if you're hanging out on this edge here, it's a 1 in 3 shot that you're gonna catch on to that before they get the drop on you. And you do have this option here on the South Electronics bunker. So you do have that on the inside. And then this can here. But probably not going to be a bunker that I'm going to stay at. I would like to see some plays over the top, though. I think you could get pretty creative up here. Now let's take a look at this D-side wedge. So here in the wedge we have D3, or that's that's D2. D1, we have the baby, we have the mini W on all sides, and we have D3, and this tower. So, I mean, this might be a good spot to get to early. You can run a lot of containment from this bunker. I want to take a look up here on the big screen. Look at this top-down view. Let's just go. Okay, so we are currently at the wedge right here. Let's just highlight ourselves in pink. Okay, so what we're looking at is D3, D2, D1. We've got the mini W, the baby, the tower. So 6 spots that you can contain from that wedge. And you're pretty well protected all the way until the Snake 50. So this is going to be a power bunker to get to early. Take real estate, get to this bunker in the center. I would not. Well, let's look. Let's look at what we got on Snake side. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. I don't know. Okay, so yeah, I mean, definitely I would look at this Hertz tower guy and the god. Yeah, this might be my favorite bunker on the field so far. The key is going to be getting out here early, because you're completely blocked out from everything else until they get to the 50. And then you have all this to cover on the D side. So, yeah, definitely going to go to that D side wedge. All right. Now then, let's go to the mini brick. And let's back up. Aztec. This is a good looking spot right away. We have all this coverage here, these gaps. Let's see if we can zoom up here. You got the outside of the apple right here. You got this gap coming across to the D2, D3. That's not a bad early bunker at all. And then you might consider making a fill out to this corner from there. Okay, so you have your mirror. If you wrap a little bit on the outside, I wonder. Yeah. You have the South Electronics bunker. Shoot over the top. And you have this can here. You might, I don't know about that can. You might have that can if you can lay it right over the top of that brick. And you do have a couple options on the snake if they are. Is that the snake 2 on that side? I think that's snake. Yeah. Yep, snake 2. Nope. So you have a couple options there. Okay. Let's go out to the corner on D side. Now this is the only tape support on the field, so definitely I would think you would want to send somebody out here to cover your Dorito player and shoot down that wire, just to keep everybody honest on that side of the field. You can wrap into the baby, and oh my, you can wrap around a lot on this side, all the way back to this wedge. So you have the wedge, you have the mini brick, you have the can, the tower, the baby, and then all the way down to your mirror on the other corner. And then from here you have God. Which I'm always leery of these long shots. I mean, if you're good at them, great, take them. But I wouldn't be gun battling somebody cross field. So just keep that in mind when you're in these corner positions, that you're not over gun battling and getting yourself into a position that you can't get yourself out of. The baby. Let's see what this looks like. I hate these small Doritos. I'm a big guy, so it's tough for me to live in these things. But possible transition bunker into this W. I just don't want. I don't want to get stuck here. That's the problem. But let's take a look at these shots. So we have the turret, the Dorito corner. We have your mirror, and then a few shots if they're playing up high on these D2 and D3, and the inside of the W. And then also from here we can shoot the God. And now see, I'm always looking for blind shots. Now there are several bounce shots, and we can talk about those. But I am looking for blind shots because they are much more reliable to hit, and surprisingly they're not talked about as much as bounce shots are. So maybe, it's hard to say. I don't know that that's a possibility here, but it might be worth a try in practice, is to shoot over the top of that wedge. And maybe even like right there. So let's take a look at our top view. So we're in this baby right here, and I'm looking on the inside. So it's possible, but it'd be right over the top of that wedge. We're going to shoot that into that hole. Okay. Yeah, like I said, sometimes it goes back to it, sometimes it doesn't. All right, moving on to the Mini W. I do like these things you can play over the top. Rather easily. I mean, a lot of people don't utilize this like they should, but... Okay, so if we're playing inside, we've got the home, we've got this wedge, we have S2, and a little sliver of the Hertz tower, so you might catch that guy sleeping on the inside. And then we have this tower right here. But if they're playing heads up, you're going to want to watch out because that guy's going to have a drop on you. Not as much as I would like on the tape. So you know, if you're the one on the D side, if you're attacking, then I would even say check this off. So get low, check these gaps off quickly here and here. Check those gaps off, and then either a quick crawl or a dive into D2. Now, for some of you guys, it's like, okay, this guy is saying the most basic shit. But for new players, I mean, you got to think strategy here. You got to think what's the best way to move up the field. One of the best players in the league right now, Marcelo Margot, wrote a book called Paintball IQ. And he talks about moving up the field and how do you move up the field. It's very simple. When you get to a new bunker, you look outside. If you don't see anybody, you look inside. If you don't see anybody there, you wrap. And then if you're still clear, you go. So, the principle is outside, inside, wrap, go. And you do that every time you move up the field. And more times than not, you will make it to your bunker. As long as you check off those positions. Obviously, if I look outside, there's nobody there, but I look inside, oh, there's a guy there and he can see me, I'm not going. So you check that off mentally every single time. Okay, so back in D2. We got a good shot on the baby. I'm not even going to talk about this tape because it's straight up and down, so obviously we can see all that. But we have some eyes on the Delta, the Mini Aztec. On the inside, we do have a sliver of the South Central bunker. So right here, you might thread that needle. And you have S1 right here. Alright, all the way up to D3. This is where it gets hairy. But this is where points are won because now we can see all of this guy. You can see all of this guy. And if somebody's still there at this point in the game, something is very wrong. I could understand a god, but don't be in this back bunker this late in the game. Now you can see this Hertz Tower guy. And that's going to be the guy you're going to want to watch, I think, on the move up. Yeah, for sure. So if you're free and clear, you are shooting the piss out of that this entire way up to this bunker. Did we cover this snake wedge? I don't know that we did. I think we did. Did we? Let's take another peek at it. Okay. Well, guys, all in all, I think the best bunker on the field is probably the D-side wedge at the 50. If you can get there early and contain from there, you are going to be a force to be reckoned with. I mean, at the very least, you're going to stir up some trouble and get some guns on your, you. And then I think the party is going to be in the snake for this event for sure. Probably more so early on, as per usual, and then later on in the tournament, we're going to see a lot of plays start coming from the D side. The center is, as more transitional than anything. I think you could get lost up in here, and create some chaos. I don't know that we looked at this tower. Let's take a look at this tower real quick. I don't think we ever stopped here. I mean, this is just about like what you'd expect. You have the tower, you have S2. I doubt you're going to catch anybody peeking up right here, because they have no cover from that, but there's their wedge on the inside. And then, yeah, you got some good coverage here too. So, I mean, if I had to pick, I don't know. If I had to pick, I would say this is easy to get to, but this guy takes the cake on containment. Primarily because for that bunker, you are completely covered. I don't like that. That trips me out every time. For that bunker, you are covered all the way up until they get to here. Right here. And then, even then, I mean, if you're low and on this side of this wedge, they're not going to be able to get you. Well, y'all, I hope this was useful for you. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I do appreciate it. It just tells me how I'm doing. If you thought the breakdown was shit, sorry. I don't know what to tell you. Still learning, still getting better at this. But I do enjoy it so much, especially creating this virtual studio. That's what I really care about. I want to know what you guys think about this concept, this idea of breaking down the game in this way, and all the possibilities of how we can use this to bring the sport into the future. I see a lot of possibilities with this, and I can't give all the details away just yet, but I've got so many things in the pipeline utilizing this space. So as time goes on, this will continue to grow. Guys, appreciate if you subscribe, all the YouTube things. It's all great. But for those playing in this tournament, I hope you have a great practice weekend. Let me know what things you guys have discovered from the field in the comments. I want to hear what you guys are thinking. I won't get to play it this weekend. I will be doing the commentary for the Next Gen tournament coming up May 3rd and 4th over at Millstead, Illinois at Extreme Paintball Park. So this Next Gen Paintball, what a great series, man. Jamie Conley running that event. Got such a big heart for the sport and for our next generation of players. And I do want to mention one last time, if you don't have a photographer for the Next Gen series, go hit up Anti-Social Photography. He's a great photographer, capturing some of the best moments in the game, and he's still booking up clients. So get with him if your team needs pictures for the Next Gen series. And once again, Grit Paintball, if you guys need custom gear for your team, we've got you covered. Go to grtpaintball.com. That is grtpaintball.com, and we have packages starting at just $90. So get yours today. And in case I forgot to mention, I am in no way, shape, or form affiliated with Major League Paintball or Ghost Sports. This is just a fan service. So if you like this, if you did like this setup, please let me know. If you didn't like it, then tell me that too. I don't care. Well, at this point, I'm just rambling. So, guys, stay gritty, stay focused, and I'll see you guys soon.